Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Konsui Fighter Live. It has been a hot minute.
Yep.
Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate, or just another good week
Yep.
slash a week of sales. Maybe you just want to buy stuff. That's fine too. But this is Konsui Fighter Live. This is the show that gets you all of the news on our current game, Konsui Fighter. And my name's Logan. I'm ahead of our marketing. I'll let everyone kind of go around the corner and introduce themselves as well.
Yep. I'm Shane Helms, the director of Cersei Studios.
And Sean, I do programming stuff.
But yeah, it has been a hot minute since we've streamed last. The last one was June.
June?
Yeah.
I was going to say it was this summer.
So we have quite a lot to kind of talk about during the show, what we've been up to, especially what's going to be going on going forward. We are live on 4 channels. So if you're watching us on Twitch, hello. We're on YouTube. This is our second stream on Kick.
Yep.
So if you are on Kick, hello. And then this is our first time streaming on our newly created, which we'll talk about here soon, Steam page.
Yeah.
So if you happen to be on Steam and you're watching, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Wish list.
Yeah.
Smash that wish list button. But let's just go ahead and jump right into our update. So let's see. The last time you heard from us was June.
Just after NakaCon.
Naka. So we did talk about Naka in our last stream.
Yeah.
So we have gone to, there were 2 conventions one that we were going to go to. The other one, unfortunately, we did not make it to. But the one that we made it to in our area was Planet Anime KC.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what our booth was during the show. We have, and actually, let me tell you about kind of just some different things for our booth, because we've changed some things. So we have for our booths, we typically have 6 demo stations. We have 2 that are running on the Steam Deck, which kind of goes into our talk about Steam later. We also have 2 PC builds, which we just built, or we now have 2 dedicated PCs for events.
2 little bitty PCs.
Yep, 2 little micro PCs that are nice and pocketable and cool. But one is using controls, the other one is using fight sticks. As you can see on that bottom left there's 2 people playing with our fighting sticks, and then the person on the right playing with the controller. And then we have 2 phones. So it might be hard to tell with these pictures, but like on the bottom left, you see that little Ayaya engine picture that's a phone. So we're still showcasing our game as a mobile, because it's kind of what it originally started as. So we have those as well. And in the middle picture, you can kind of see the phones on some arms sticking out as well. But so this is kind of our newer booth layout. We still have some stuff that we want to add, like a new backdrop and stuff like that. But
yeah,
overall,
we've had that banner since the beginning, but it still works.
Yeah, since 2012 when we first do it Naka.
First Naka. But so yeah, we want to get a new backsplash, and other than that, this layout worked pretty well.
We had a little bit more room because they let us kind of go outside the bounds a bit, but it was nice. It made it more convenient.
You might notice on the top left and kind of a scatter, you might see some Neopet.
Yeah.
That is not our game. Our game is not a Neopet game.
Our booth mates had a bunch of Neopets gear, and it was pretty cool.
They had a lot of cool stuff.
Took me way back.
Yeah. They had like custom handmade maps. They took a lot of like fiction books and fantasy stories and like made the covers into that
All
thing.
fancy.
Yeah. So it was really cool. I was tempted to buy some.
But yeah, I mean, I think the event was really good. We
Yeah.
got it was interesting. Some familiar faces from NakaCon.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And then some new faces, and it was good just to see people trying out the game, getting
Yep.
some different feedback, enjoying it.
And it's a new con, but like, yeah, they actually got more attendance than they were expecting. So
Yeah.
I think it'll do good next year.
Yeah.
And yeah, they even only had like what a third of like the whole convention center.
Basil was in
so-
that picture. I don't
yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
there
she
Back
is.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Her little head poking up.
Yeah.
Oh, also want to point out the monitors are also new and the little speakers.
Yep.
Yeah, Logan got
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. for
Yeah, I
this.
mean our booth, almost everything in our booth is new, other than
the decks.
I mean, even the decks are
They had some
semi-new.
new stuff.
sticks.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
But
shelves
the
that's
decks
true.
are
and
the
stands.
decks are new as of at least this year.
Sure.
Yes.
Um,
The controllers and the sticks, I guess, have been around the longest.
but yeah, I mean, overall, it was fun. It was interesting to see. Yes, we did see like some of the same people, but it was also interesting to see how many new people there were.
Yeah.
Since this convention is 15 to 20 minutes away from the other convention.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting to basically be in the same town, but a whole new. I mean, one is downtown Kansas City,
Mhm.
Right.
the other one is a suburb of Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, what was nice about the Planet Anime is just the fact that it had the money with our Planet Comic Con KC. There was they had a bunch of Naruto voice actors. They
Mhm.
had both Spider-Man and Miles Morales
Yep.
there, which was funny because that was the weekend the game came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that one guy.
Yeah, there was the one dude who he went to Best Buy to buy the game, and then immediately turned around to come here to have them sign it.
Yeah.
So I mean that was pretty cool that he was able to get that done. But,
And they were like, "Are you going to sell this?" He's like, "No, this is going to my collection."
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean overall the show was good. We'll more than likely be going next year.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so if you're in the area, by all means, please. We will not be going to Planet Comic Con.
Yeah.
So
This is a little
keep
more
that in mind.
themed into our
Yeah,
game.
Yeah.
it's just more towards our audience.
Yeah.
But
And these do cost money and time, so we want to try to focus on not every convention we can go to yet.
Right.
So.
Yep.
but yeah, and then Basil, who is currently
Yeah.
watching, she had her first panel that went over anime horror. I was a part of the panel as well. I did more. I was just more comedic effect because I don't really know anything about.
I secretly
horror.
recorded and cheered on.
So, but it was a fun.
It was a good panel.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking also. I was
No,
looking
you're
at the
good.
chat as well.
Yep.
So that's pretty much the big event stuff that has happened this year. We also have another really cool thing that just happened, and that is Shane.
The Steam page. Yeah. So, I mean, you may be on it right now, and if so, welcome.
Mhm.
But yeah, over the summer, we launched our official Steam page for Konsui Fighter. It's live now. If you're not on Steam, be sure to go check it out. Just search for Konsui Fighter. Or in the chat, you can put a ! Steam and you'll get a link. But yeah, the Steam page allows you to wish list the game currently and has all sorts of information about the game, some media, and it is going to be the landing page for Next Fest coming up here in February. So we should probably talk about that just a little bit. Yeah, the next Fest for Steam is in February. Next Fest. Yep. They do multiple in a year.
Yeah.
So the next one's in February. If you're not familiar with Steam Next Fest, it's an event that Steam puts on where they showcase upcoming games that are not yet released. And every game has a demo featured, and typically the developers will do a few streams during the event to play the game with the community, do some Q&A, and we are planning on doing that during the next one. So
Mhm.
we will have a public free demo for Konsui Fighter available during the event. I believe it kicks off in February on the 12th, if I recall, and lasts for about 10 days, a week, 10 days, somewhere in there. It's a little hazy because I know there's a phase where I think like
Press gets
a little early
Yeah.
access. But yeah, and we'll talk about what's going to be in that build as we go into some of the other improvements. But we're really excited to get that out there.
Get some feedback.
On
Steam.
And then the game plan is that shortly thereafter, probably within a few months to follow, we're going to be launching early access on Steam, where you can pre-purchase the game and get access to the game as it evolves. And there'll be basically all the content that we have in parity with the Android release there. And you'll be able to follow along with us and help us finish the game to release. So we're really excited. And yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
But what else have we been up to, Logan? There's something else that's happened recently.
Yep. So I'm assuming you mean the brand new, the new update that we just launched, which is 2023.11.
Yep.
So I'll pass that back to you, Shane, and
we need a view for all of us on some of these topical screens.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's fine.
So, 2023.11, which is our next like big release this fall, is out, and there's a lot in there. A good chunk of it you can see, and some of it's behind the scenes stuff. But we're gonna kind of go through the gamut of what we've been working on that's in there. So the first major thing is asset quality improvements, and you can see in the gameplay video here. This is some capture of the current version, and I'm going to talk about things while we just kind of roll some footage. But yeah, all graphics at this point in the build are now up to our HD standard. Everything, every little menu interface, character assets, stage assets is up to that spec now. This is pretty important to us before we get, the public view out there to have everything more up to modern standard. When we first started the project, we were targeting a lower spec because that was kind of the high end at the time, but times have changed. So everything's up to that spec, and in that vein, the audio as well is now up to our audio standard, which has some better quality. You can tell more of a difference in the stage themes and the music sectors. So,
and to be fair, what we had before was fine, but it was just soft, especially on like bigger screens.
We were targeting making this thing fit on mobile with like the smallest possible download, and we're still pretty compact.
Very.
But we're kind of letting ourselves have a little more breathing room to up the quality.
Yeah.
So.
And that's still like less than 200 megs. Like it's pretty small.
We're at I think about 250 or just under.
Yeah.
So yep.
We're not a Call of Duty update, basically.
No. Also in is the non-touch overlays. So you can see those sections on the corners of the control bar there. We just wanted to add some visual flair to help kind of ground the space. Normally, if you're using touch controls on mobile, there's touch interface there. We didn't want to put anything there functionally that would give players that are using the non-touch version any kind of advantage or anything like that. So, but it adds a little visual flair in line with the rest of our interface design, and we're happy to have that in. And then there's a few little gameplay effects that have been improved to help clarity of a few things like dashing and dodging execution, I think super special countering, and now impact shutter. So every time you take a blow, character has a little bit of impact shutter, and it just helps give the game a little bit more like feel to each hit, which is really good. So yeah, lots of little touches there, but some good improvements. So why don't we pause on my end and pivot over to some of the network play stuff? So we'll talk about online in a bit, but specifically as to the network stuff,
Yep.
Sean, we talked a little bit about it in one of our previous streams, but you worked on some of the network quality
Yeah.
components.
A lot of times, a lot of last time was just like plans of what we were going to do, and we finally
Yeah.
got all those in place. So yeah, the first big thing, like you said, is the quality indicator. So, oh yeah, just laugh at me, huh?
Shouldn't have slammed that coffee.
But yeah, there's a little idea of quality indicators. So if you have a bad connection, either it might not even be your fault. It could be the other player, or it could just be the internet that day. It will start to warn you when the quality starts dipping. We're still trying to set the bounds for those, but we're testing things like ping time, if we're missing packets, things like that.
Yep.
And it will build up over time to where if it gets all the way down into the red, it will actually pop up a message saying, hey, your connection's bad. We're going to try to recover for a second or two.
Yep.
And if we still can't recover for some reason, then you'll potentially get disconnected. But this all kind of helps keep everything in line to where everybody has a similar experience. We already have some systems in place that will do things like if there's delayed packets, it'll start slowing parts of the game down so you can both still keep in sync.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it because the internet's kind of a black box. You just send things out and hope it gets there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but yeah, so we have all those pop-ups now for things like remote player disconnects and quality issues and things like that. Controller disconnects. So this is sort of going into the next major area we focus a lot on, which is quality of life improvements. We've made a ton of them, again, in preparation for Next Fest and trying to get things, more ready for a broader audience. We've touched on a lot of quality of life. So things like, during gameplay, if the controller disconnects, it will pause the game.
Yep.
Little things like that.
We can have swapping controls.
Yeah. So
little things like that.
Yeah. So we've added a lot of things around control methodology. So like hot swapping control methods. Like if you go from using a controller to now using your keyboard to back to controller, the game will transition between those control modes and whatever mappings that you've defined for those on the fly. And that took a lot of work. There's a lot of considerations for that. I mean, there's things like if you're in the middle of a tutorial that's telling you how to use the controls and you switch your control method, the verbiage needs to now match your control method you're using.
Yep.
And doing that on the fly, you kind of have to pre-bake a lot of those things and set them up to be able to be dynamically swappable, or controller iconography throughout the interface. So
even how the inputs are mapped in our system has to change.
So there was a lot of work that went into being able to do that on the fly and handle that throughout the entire application.
Even during network play.
Even during network play, you could transition control modes and that gets synchronized adequately over to the other system. So a lot of work there. Controller remapping, the options menu, we've built out more. So now you can define custom controller mapping in game for controller mode and keyboard input. And on the Android side of things with touch input, you can tweak some of the control settings for lefties or southpaw setups to get the on-screen controls where you want. And we've also added a little bit better controller support on Android. There's a little bit more we want to do. There's some newer interfaces to consuming controller input we want to pivot to at some point, but the controller support is in. So if you have like an Xbox controller or something you want to sync through Bluetooth, or maybe
technically it'd support like PlayStation, right?
PlayStation, or a wired controller of some kind, a shell.
Pretty much any standard controller should work.
Should be detected and work now.
And you should be able to even just remap them if you want.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see, what other quality of life improvements?
One more with networking. We kind of dropped TCP. So
Yeah, this is getting a little bit into the online play stuff. But yes, let's hold on that because we'll dig into that a little bit more here. But yeah, so loading optimizations, there's a couple areas of the app that were like heavy hitters, and there were some adjustments made to help with loading, so they're quicker. Like the main menu is considerably quicker now to come up, even though we've still got a lot of content that has to load there for all the different screens, and we increase the quality, so that requires more data. And let's see, some other like technical things like frame pacing. There's some optimizations we made to improve frame pacing on the PC build for various platforms and things like that. So cloud save support, lots of little things throughout the app. But yeah, so we touched on online play. Let's talk about that. So, big milestone for us, right? Online play is
before you get into that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you finish.
Why don't you remind? Why don't we talk about what? I know in the last stream we touched on what we're going to be doing for online, but just as a recap, like what is the online service that we're going to be using?
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Yes. So we are going to be offering online play cross-platform for Konsui Fighter. That is leveraging the Microsoft Azure PlayFab backend for matchmaking and just general online features, and it integrates into all of the platforms that the game will be on. So if you're on Steam, it will use your Steam profile. If you're on Android, it will use your Google Play Games profile, and other platforms to be announced depending upon where we go in the future.
PlayFab supports basically everything.
We will be able to loop you into our shared online community for online play.
Yeah.
Right now, we are only targeting sort of a quick play methodology for the next release. So we mentioned we're going to talk a little bit about what's in the Next Fest demo. Online play will be in, and that was kind of a like deal breaker. We have to have that functional. It needs to work solidly enough before we put it out there, but we want people during Next Fest to be able to play the game together and to check it out together. And we have that working now.
Yeah.
So
I think, and if you said this before, I apologize, but we did talk about Next Fest on our last stream, and we were trying to be at Next Fest
for this fall.
In October.
Yeah. But we needed a little bit more time to get some of this polish and round out the polish on the online mode.
Yeah, it's complicated.
But we're pretty happy with where we are now.
Yeah.
So
finally settled on something.
Yep. So so for Next Fest and for early access, there will be initially online quick play. You can select online mode, hop in a random match with somebody, and play until you want to rematch with somebody else. We will be adding support for friend invites through Steam and through Google Play as well. We're hopefully going to have that in time for Next Fest. I think we should have enough time to get that wired up.
It should be simpler than what we have. Yeah.
And then beyond that, there will be a separate mode within the app for friends play. So you will have a friends list cross-platform that you can establish in the app and send friend invites and join up matches from that view directly. Lots of things to come. But let's talk a little bit more about what we've done to get online play working. So you mentioned one thing.
Yeah.
We're no longer using TCP. We're just using UDP. Do you want to talk a little bit about why we had to do that and what that means?
So without getting too technical, like UDP is great because it's kind of just a fire and forget, and it usually works. It's a little bit faster in some cases, but TCP has more guarantees of like getting packets across in order. It was starting to get complicated. We had it working to where we use one type for one thing and one type for other things that need to be guaranteed, but it was having issues with connecting mainly through firewalls and things. It gets very complicated. So we found it much easier to just focus on one thing, which is UDP, which again can be faster in some cases, but that just means we have to manage the reliability aspects.
Yeah.
So we made a wrapper around our own thing to be able to send those and guarantee reliability and order, and it's been working great so far. And in most cases, like, you shouldn't have problems unless you have a bad connection. So in those cases, it might have to resend data. But yeah, we do all the things in the back end to make sure that all of those packets come across. And if it doesn't come across, you're eventually going to disconnect because that means we're just not getting data.
Yeah.
But it simplified a lot of little things and has been working really good so far.
Yeah, it's been more stable. Yeah, I mean, there's certain aspects of the game that have to be reliable.
Yeah.
You know, like if you hit a button, the system that's running the actual like session has to get that input, or you're not going to have consistency of the game. And
if somebody hits pause, it needs to pause.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's things like that that just have to get communicated, or we can't maintain gameplay. And so
not reliably.
Yeah, this moves that there, and kind of going to the extreme case, right? we've done some testing of the online play all the way with Jas over in Japan. He's over there right now, and we've had at least one successful session with him where even with that distance and the terrible ping, we were able to reliably get messages over UDP with this methodology and get into in-game pretty well. There's a few tweaks I made since then, and we need to test with him again to see how things are smoothed out.
Like part of it was our quality indicator was a little too aggressive.
We were aggressively holding up the session when it probably would have been fine.
Yep.
So we've toned that down a little bit, and that's why we got to test some of this stuff, right? To find a good balance of the worst case scenario, the best case scenario, somewhere in between, and dial settings in for that.
But yeah, we're doing a lot of things on top of that. So we're doing a thing called stun, where we're trying to get your IP address to what's visible to the public, and then we can use that to kind of poke each other, because after the matchmaking, or just if you're a local, all of our gameplay is point to point, like user to user. So there's no like online server in the background or anything. So it has to be able to go through firewalls. We're going the most basic route, which works in most cases. If it doesn't work beyond that, you might have to do some port forwarding. But
so to that point, it's another feature we worked on in the menus is error reporting.
Yes.
So we didn't really have it before. You know, you would try a network match and it would either work or it wouldn't.
Yep.
And you might get a random disconnect potentially if there was a problem with no feedback about that. So now, partially we talked about the quality indication and disconnect notification, but also in the menus, as we're establishing an online match, we now have better error handling and reporting. So we have a splash that will come up if we have an issue that has some obfuscated error codes that'll be displayed there and some different verbiage depending upon what failed. So you'll get different notifications for things like, well, we can't reach anything on the internet. You need to make sure you're online. Or we can't talk to the matchmaking services. They're unavailable, or maybe you're not able to reach them due to some kind of filtering happening, and all of that kind of stuff. So we're hoping that with NextFest and more people being able to test the application, if we do have problems, we can start seeing the trend of where that is having issue and provide some feedback to users. So it might be a case where they need to forward the port so they can get through their router or things like that. So
yeah, we'll say one area we found to be very complicated so far is just cell phone networks.
Yes.
The way they manage your IP address is very funky. So it's hard to get a reliable connection to another user just on the internet. Like if we're going to like a third-party web server, it works fine. But yeah, we're trying to look into that. So for now, we basically only support like Wi-Fi or basic internet connections.
Yeah, on Android.
Yeah,
we are going to kind of detect whether or not the connection is using Wi-Fi, and if it is not, we're not going to permit online play currently. Because we can't really reliably establish an online match otherwise.
And in theory, in some cases, it might work, but we have no way of determining that. And most cases so far we've tested, it will fail. So it's just not a good experience for users.
Yeah.
So
there's some different options on the table we might explore down the road.
We're still looking at things.
For the time being, it at least allows you a way to hopefully get online on Wi-Fi and play online mode. So
it's a start. It's working good so far.
So we got a lot more to come with online mode.
It's a very complicated system.
Yeah, so I have a little list we can kind of touch on a few of these here. So compression and encryption.
Yes. We've had talks back and forth about, we want to make sure that everybody has a good experience with as little cheating as possible. You can never fix all of it, but one of those things to help that would be encryption. So all of our packets are properly secured and verified. That should be pretty straightforward. We have a thing that we're going to try to do that. Yeah.
We won't elaborate on the specifics.
And then kind of related to that, it can be a mixed bag, but we're going to try compression because most of our packets are pretty small. There's only certain things like our game state, which is pretty big. So we want to try to shrink that
selectively choose a packet to compress just to help with throughput.
So because there are limits on like packet size on certain networks. So.
And I guess sort of on like the bad actor side of things, we're also going to at least initially be supporting a personalized block list.
Yes.
So if you have a match with a user that you don't think was, it could be anything. It could be you suspect them of cheating. Maybe they just stomped you and you don't want to play them again, whatever. You'll have a private block list where you can choose after a match to block that user and you will not be matched with them again. Eventually, this may go into a system of, user reporting and time-limited bans and things like that. We're still kind of gauging exactly how we want that to function.
It's hard to balance those, but
but we are looking into those things just to dissuade people from, creating a bad experience for the community in online play.
Yep.
Bastards.
Yeah,
they're always out there. Sadly, some people just mess around. Some people are actually malicious.
We've also been looking at some of the different connection methodologies.
Yeah.
So you've recently been working on trying different techniques.
Yeah. So there's things like we started with IPv4. We're also sending IPv6, which is working in some cases. It's just kind of whatever works best. Even the way we establish online matchmaking, we found an issue where if two people are on the same router, most routers don't support this methodology where if they both have the same IP address they're connecting to, it should route the traffic back, but a lot of them don't. So we're also trying to send local connections. So it basically tries a combination of things, and whatever connects first, it uses that connection. So if you're on the same Wi-Fi, it'll just connect locally and not even use the internet.
If you happen to get matched.
If you happen to get matched, because it's all, you're basically, that's another thing is like with the online matchmaking right now, everybody's thrown into the same pool. So there's no skill ratings or anything, but we are looking into that.
Ranked play. Yeah.
So, So right now, it's basically random who you get matched with.
Yep.
But since we're the only people matching, so
Right.
it's made it easy to test at least.
Yep.
And we do have separate buckets for development and public.
Yep.
So that helps. But yeah. And then, kind of like you said, looking into sending invites for each platform should be straightforward now that we have the rest of the systems.
Will there be a report or ban functionality for online play, like if people are being terrible?
Yeah, that's basically what I was alluding.
No.
That's what I was.
Do such a thing like that.
Yeah.
That's what I was alluding to. So our current methodology we're looking at right now is that every user will have their own block list. So if you have a user that you think is a bad actor, you can block them. We're still working out the ban aspect, but the idea is that would also report that user had been blocked to us. And we will have some metrics where if they hit certain thresholds of, users reporting them, and we also will be doing some other monitoring of our own for suspicious activity. If those things are highlighting certain users, we will probably have a process to ban them.
Maybe in
ways
a soft
that
ban.
A soft ban to a heavy ban,
Yep.
And things like that. So we'll probably have more details on that in the future. At least initially, we're hoping to get just the block list out the door sooner than later, because that at least allows you to craft your experience. It's relatively simple for us to put that together.
And PlayFab has some ways of doing some of that built in. So,
So, absolutely. I mean, we want to keep the pool of people that want to have a good game experience as positive as possible. So, So I think we touch on a lot of I guess the other thing we'll touch on is the match loop. Or the menu loop. We've had a lot of discussion around the structure of that. We have right now, you kind of like get connected, you pick a character, you might pick the stage, and you go into a match. And when you're done, you go right back to the main menu and you would have to start all over. There's some improvements to that flow that we want to do to kind of refine the selection process before a match, allow or have a post-match screen where you will accumulate wins and have the option to change settings, replay the match with the same settings, to leave the session with that user, but potentially to replay over and over until you want to, finish the session. So there's some improvements there that we're working on. We'll see how far we get with elements of that going into Next Fest, but we want to try to get more of that in time for the event for sure. So
one big thing you made progress on is the character select.
Yes. So one of the things I'm working on right now is the character select. to allow for a mode where if you are playing with another person
Mhm.
and not like a single player scenario, both players can do their selection of their character at the same time, and you can see the other characters like planchette, the little selector, in real time. So you can even play a little bit of mind games in the menu by doing hidden character selections and kind of messing with the other player in online mode, and stuff like that in the menu. So yep. So cool. And yeah, Next Fest should be our first public demo with online play. So definitely wishlist us so you can stay tuned to our Steam page as we get into rolling that out.
And again, it might not work for 100% for everybody's connection, but it's things that we need to see in real scenarios to
we need
improve.
the data.
Basically, yeah. So.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into kind of what's next. So we've kind of just recapped of everything that's been going on in our past busy 6-ish
months.
6
months. So what's next? I'm just gonna go ahead and just skip a little bit ahead just for my part.
Sure.
So things that we will be kind of looking up. Well, our next event is more than likely going to be NakaCon 24. So that is in a date that
March?
I can't. I
It's
think
in May, isn't it?
May.
It's an M month.
Yeah.
Pretty
So-
sure it's
Spring.
May again.
Right. No, yes.
It used to be March, but I think they've
it's
targeted
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the last year that they'll do Memorial Day weekend. But
That's right.
so we'll have that planned. By that time, we should be in early access. So or very close to that time.
That's always a nice con because it's pretty cheap and easy for us because it's right there. But it's
Right.
also pretty
Yeah.
laid back because we've done it so many times.
Yep.
So-
Yeah. No, we're pretty good with those peeps.
Yeah.
And
We have tons of room, which is great.
and it's always nice to get the people to come back at the from year to year and see how the game's done, and it's a good avenue to get feedback from people playing it. So that's I would say that, and then this would be fall of next year, but Planet Anime we will more than likely be over that.
Yep.
So those are the two that are practically guaranteed. I'll be looking at some other events, but nothing that I want to say like, oh yeah, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'll just say like, hey, we might.
Yeah. It gets very expensive
Right,
and time
yeah.
consuming. We like to go to all those, but
Right.
Yeah.
We just need the money and
Yeah.
the time.
some are literally thousands of dollars for the booth.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Only, and that's
Just the booth.
just the booth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's those events, and then the next big thing is going to be Next Fest in February.
Yep.
So that's going to be our next thing, and that I'll go ahead and pass it off back to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, yeah. I mean, we talked about the demo. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but we are going to do 2 developer streams during the event.
Yeah.
So those are going to be more gameplay and Q&A streams. So we'll be playing the game. We'll probably do a mix of like hopping in online play with anybody that happens to be checking out the demo, or doing some local matches, or maybe a little bit of the story. But during that, while we're playing the game, we'll be taking Q&A from the audience, and you'll get a chance to come hang out with us, ask us questions about the game, the development process, all of that good stuff. So we're looking forward to that. We will have a posting on our Steam page with the information about the time slots that those 2 streams will be. Probably going to have one a little bit towards the beginning of the event, and one a little more towards the end.
Yeah. We might shoot for different times too to get different time
Yes.
zones.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. We'd love you to join us and check out the game a little bit more there.
Yep. And if you miss those, I assume we're recording those and we'll have
Yeah,
those
we'll be
posted.
co-streaming them as well.
Yeah.
So they'll be on our other channels if you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube. Our YouTube channel has all of our stream history.
It's the best archive.
Yeah, so if you're ever curious to watch the development of Konsui Fighter over the years, check out our YouTube page at YouTube/Circean Studios, and you can see all the Konsui Fighter
all
live.
30. Well, this is 38, so all
Yeah.
other 37.
Should do something special for 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought about either like for 40 or 50 to do like.
Yeah. An extravaganza. Why don't you guys tell us what you would like to see us do for our 50th episode when we get there?
Sure.
Whatever your craziest ideas are, and we will see what we can make happen.
Yeah. You'll also notice, I mean, this is our second stream with our new kind of layout and all that. So, because before it was basically one camera that looked over all of
the
us.
whole room.
So now we have this new setup where you get
we have these new mics.
Yep, got new mics and all that. So yeah, it's been good. And then did you want to talk about so post Next Fest?
Neck Fest.
Neck Fest.
That's a whole different.
That's a different show.
Yeah.
Will be early access. Kind of what do you?
Yeah, what's going to be in early access, right? So the goal is to bring Android and Steam into parity. So going forward, all of our releases, all of our releases will be the same content, the same feature set. So we're intending to at least have the online quick play included in that. The big difference, so Next Fest, we talked like what's in the build, like why, if you're going to have a public demo, why bother with early access? So the demo is only going to be available during the Next Fest event. That's one aspect of it. We're also going to have a limited subset of content in the Next Fest demo. So there's going to be a smaller selection of characters, stages, only the first chapter of story mode as a preview available in that build. When we get to early access, you will get all core 8 characters, the current early access story progression, which I believe is the first 2 chapters, and then additional chapters will be opened up over time. And you'll just get all the updates as we go. You can provide feedback and hopefully see some of those things incorporated into the build. That'll kind of be the key difference there. Obviously, there's a few things that have to happen for us to hit that milestone, but we're hoping within, I'm saying like 1 to 3 months of wrapping up Next Fest, I want to get that out there for everybody. So that's our goal. So
we're down to the point where like a lot of systems are there. We need to add one last character and then do a lot of polish on things. But we're kind of in those final stages.
We're getting there. Yeah, that the last character con is going to be a pretty decent lift. I think we're going to be working through kind of the spring and maybe a little bit of the summer months to get him stood up, because he is our final boss and he is a very unique character in his structure. We've talked about him a little bit before on the stream, but I'll touch briefly. He's a stance character. So he has...
Not like JoJo.
Yeah. No.
So like he stands.
Alternates between... So stance characters alternate between different poses, different stances, and that opens up different variations of move sets and things that they can do. So Khan has sort of 2 different stances that he can alternate between that emphasize different aspects of his moveset, and certain things are cross-compatible, so you're encouraged to change stance to get access to different higher level chains of attacks. He also has a really crazy, he has 2 supers. Unlike most characters, depending on which stance he's in, he will have one of 2 different supers, and
he has lots of body parts that move independently.
So he's going to be a pretty complex character to put together. We need to work with Jas to get a little bit more of the art content updated for him now that we've kind of locked in a lot of the rest of the game structure, and just there'll be a lot of work focused on that. Rounding out story mode, like you mentioned,
tutorials
soundtrack. and just further refinement. But yeah, we're getting pretty far along in terms of features, and it is interesting some of the things that have fallen off the list where it's like, yeah, this is probably at release 1.0 grade at this point. Seeing things starting to shift into that category is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's going to get to the point though where like the users might not see very much.
Yes,
changes.
and that is a call out. Like there will probably be a phase of development here where, and we've talked about it before, but like some of what we're doing is behind the scenes stuff. You know, story chapters were not opening up yet. Characters were not opening up yet.
You're not going to see the last boss until release.
Things like achievements will probably not be locked in until we're pretty confident on the feature and content set and stuff like that. So, you know, but we hope that through Konsui Fighter Live, we can kind of preview some of that stuff so you guys can see what we're working on behind the scenes and get ready for that leading into the actual public release. So
and at this point, a lot of that should go quicker.
Yes.
So,
So lots more to come.
Yep. But on that note, let's go ahead and just maybe reflect on something. And it doesn't even have to be Konsui Fighter. It could be anything, because
anything good.
Anything. Because this could be this might be our last stream this year. So you know,
we're not doing our Christmas opening packages.
We didn't last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if we will have.
I don't think we'll have as many presents this year.
Right.
that
and like I'll be gone.
Oh, that's right.
That.
Sure.
So
Thanksgiving
so
it just happened.
Kinda, right. Just to kind of reflect on the year. I mean, overall, it's really I've loved to see how the game has kind of progressed throughout the year.
Yeah.
I think like it looks super dope on the Steam Deck.
Yes.
Like,
Works really well.
Yes.
That's the one thing I'm like.
It's a showcase title for the deck. I would argue. I honestly would argue that like it is something I think people could pull up on their deck and show their friends
on
and
the
be like,
Steam Deck OLED.
"Oh yeah,
good pop."
God.
we haven't gotten one yet. I'm probably
we were
gonna
tempted.
order one in the new year. I'm probably gonna get the. See, I don't know. I'm back and forth. I might get the mid tier model, but then there's part of me that like just get the higher end one. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. I will get one probably at some point leading into the new year, partially so that we can test.
Sure.
Just do it. No, don't tell. Don't say that because.
Well, I already was planning on it.
No. Because she's saying just do it. And if she says that for you, I'm gonna want it too. And just so you know, I guess hey, there you go. You want an easy Christmas present idea or anniversary gift? There you go. Steam Deck OLED.
Well, and here's the argument, Logan. Okay, you can try mine to see if it really
That's just going to tempt it
tickles
more.
your fancy, but maybe it won't, and then you would save yourself the trouble. So I don't know, but it probably will.
As nice as the OLED
The thing is, it's not just the OLED.
Yeah.
It's so many other little improvements and fixes to me that's what justifies it.
I wanted
for me.
the semi-transparent case.
Yeah. Like the improved
The
battery
limited
life, the better cooling,
Yeah.
the improvements to the input latency and haptic quality, and like every little aspect of it has been improved in some way. So
And thank you. I saw Killbot earlier said
you.
the game is beautiful. So thank you. Appreciate
thanks.
it. Very. I think
We've worked really hard, and it's a credit to Jass's talent.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
He really is talented. We're very lucky to have him.
He's put in a lot of work into it.
Yes, yeah, we think so too. We've even won awards for our
You're
art
beautiful.
direction. So. But yeah.
Let's see. So another question earlier was what games have you played? So I have probably
played the most
as this group. Throughout this year, I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the year I played the 2018 God of War as well as Ragnarok. I'm pretty sure I did that this year.
Yeah, you finally caught up.
And wow.
Yeah.
I did that. What I did, Kirby's Forgotten
Yep.
Kingdom. That was an early game. That was super fun. Beat Octopath 2. I beat Cyberpunk.
Just recently.
That was the game I just beat.
And he did everything.
I did everything. 96 hours. And I've done, and technically, I guess it was more than that because I went back and played some of the endings, but did Phantom Liberty, did the regular game, so there's that. Don't know what I'm going to play next, but
you have a list.
I have a short list.
I'd say either Mario RPG or Control. You got to get on those.
They're at least shorter than 96 hours.
Yes,
And
both of those are about the same.
My continuous game that I will just play is Final Fantasy 14.
You could both dabble in Sea of Thieves.
I was gonna say
and Sea
we've
of
played a
Thieves.
lot of Sea of Thieves this
We
year.
You've done that other one with your brother.
New World.
New World.
New World.
Yeah, Baldur's
and then
Gate.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
We played
And there's
Diablo
another,
a bit.
There's another
Yeah.
game, okay, that just if you are a D&D person, like Solasta is so good.
I've heard a lot of
Yeah.
people playing that.
It's so good. Mario Wonder. We did. Oh yeah, we.
Oh
just started
yes,
Mario
yes,
Wonder.
we have
Yep.
been playing through Mario.
We got
We
like
are
what,
on-
3?
We've been playing it as a group in like sessions of a few hours.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like
We're getting
taking our
basically
time.
like a world done session.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think there's 7 of them.
We have, I think, 3 or
Three.
4 more
Yeah.
to go.
But that's been
That's
really
been a
fun.
lot of fun.
Mhm.
Yep.
Very crazy mechanics they were throwing into that.
Yep.
But
yeah, for me, Sea of Thieves we played quite a bit. I've been playing Super Mario RPG, which the remake is awesome. And I did start Starfield. I'm like 40 or 50 hours into that. Horizon Forbidden West, I'm like halfway through. I played through. See, I think it was earlier this year that I played Bone Lab on
Yes, yeah,
Quest.
it was this year.
Played through that. That was pretty awesome. Man, I know I'm forgetting other stuff, but
Yeah.
those are probably the big hitters for me so far this year.
The problem is I've been dabbling in a lot and not finishing most of them.
Yeah.
So my ADD has been really bad this year. Uh-huh.
Yep. The what Basil brought up, the Monkey Island stuff.
Yeah.
No,
So I
it
mean
was it was
guess
really
that's another
good.
game I played was that I finally played Monkey
first
Island,
one.
the first one.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you should do the second one, but yeah, at least the first 2. Like the rest of them are good too.
Yeah.
But if you had to play, like you should do these, you should play the first 2 at a minimum.
I forgot there were so many until.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when I was looking at it, it's like Jesus, just like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. I think aren't they working on a new one?
They
too?
released it. It's
Yeah,
out now,
okay.
and it's pretty good.
Nice.
So,
But yeah, the Sea of Thieves update.
Yeah.
or
It was
content
really
for it
well
was
done.
Really good.
yeah,
They've been doing really good with those. I like
Yeah.
the Pirates of the Caribbean one.
yeah. But, yeah.
Apparently, you can play. I didn't know, but if you get all the commendations, you can actually play the song.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I was like, I know I've seen people play the Pirates of the Caribbean song
Mm-hmm.
and the Monkey Island song, and I'm like, how the hell do you do it? And when I looked it up, you have to do all the commendations. And I'm like, damn.
Did we do that?
No. I think I would. No, because like there are things that like we completed, like we completed the story and then like some minor things, but I
Mm.
think it's like doing specific
Things along the way. Yeah.
Because yeah,
Oh yeah, 16.
yep, Final Fantasy 16. I
You
forgot.
beat that. Yep.
Yep. So
Jeez.
He's just outplaying us.
Yeah.
just go ahead and check off. I know that.
Oh, I guess PlayStation VR stuff. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I've been playing some
dabbled in
games
that.
on there that, yeah, the Horizon game it's decent. It's a VR climbing game, which some people may want,
Mhm.
some people may not. There is some combat in there, which is pretty fun.
How much of RE?
So I
games.
only played. hopped into RE8
Yeah.
from the perspective of like, let me sprint through the first sections just to see how they handle it. But I need to do an actual playthrough. But it is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, GT7 is really good in VR. I played through some more of the single player stuff in there, and it was way better. Like doing some of the licensed stuff.
Oh yeah.
You can just feel like how to control the car a little bit better in
And
VR.
distances and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really good.
And then I've been playing a bit of Synapse, which is In Dreams' exclusive game on PSVR 2. That's a lot of fun.
I'm curious about that one. I need to pick it
Light
up.
Brigade is sort of a FPS roguelike in VR that's a lot of fun with kind of a cool like style to it.
Did Ghostbusters come out this year?
I think it either just came out or is about to come out.
No.
The last one.
That was like late last year and updates into this year.
Okay.
So we have been playing a bit of that. I mean, that's within a year-ish. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It's exclusive on Epic. But
yeah. Not anymore. It is on Steam now with this update. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So.
Logan.
Jedi Survivor. Yeah.
I'll pick it up eventually.
Yeah, I do want to grab it at some point.
I like that I bought it. So I bought that game specifically to play on my deck while I was going to Europe in the spring. And it was because the PC version was so bad at launch.
Yeah.
Well, the console versions were bad too, but yes.
Right, but the PC versions were even worse.
Yes.
And because even people with like high-end GPUs were like, it barely runs.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm not gonna. And they're
Probably
like, don't even
not.
bother playing it on Steam Deck. Now, apparently, they've done a crap.
They have
It's
done a lot
better,
so
but
I would be curious to see what it is now. But but yeah, I'm pissed because I bought it was $70 and now it's like $35.
Yeah.
I'm just like
that's how it happens.
Yep. But yeah, that's one. Basil brought up Diablo.
Yeah.
Yes, I do want to get back to Diablo.
Eventually.
I looked into it because I know a lot of people kind of moved away from season 1.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, season 2 fixes quite a few things.
I know they
and it's a bit
undid
better
some of
now.
their bad patch.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's improved, and there's some interesting things in season 2.
I never even beat the game yet. So.
Yeah, but I do want to get back to that because I was having a lot of fun with it. It
Yeah.
was just again like a matter of time, but yeah.
So it's a good time sync game.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. Even like Forza, I barely touched. I need to get back to that.
Or Mortal Kombat. Yep.
Yeah.
Another game that I bought, and
I mean, we played it a little bit.
Yeah.
To dabble
launch.
it. Yeah.
I want to get more. Or
More.
I want to play more.
Yep.
But yeah. I mean, I have like on my Steam on my Steam library, I have a selection of titles that are like my next go-to because like I want to do Sea of Stars as well.
I need to do that with my list because I just have too many things.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like I wouldn't mind. Are there any games you're looking forward to?
Yeah. I know, obviously, Final Fantasy 7 for you.
I was gonna say 7
Yeah.
Remake Part 2 / Rebirth or whatever it's
Rebirth.
subtitled.
Yeah. So I mean, because that's my
Yeah.
that's at least for sure what I'm going to be doing is replaying the remake and Integrate because I didn't play Integrate when it came out.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
I'm planning on doing both of those. I'm basically going to kind of do what I did with God of War. Well, I'll do that and then basically get into 2. That's at least I know that's the next new title. That's
Right.
like, oh yeah, no, that's gonna be it.
Yeah. I know I'm curious about Obsidian's game.
About
Yeah. I mean, that's my.
I feel really bad because I bought all their previous games when they came out or were early access or whatever, and I never played through them. But this ties into that same world, so I'm really curious. It's weird because we're about to get Game Awards, so I think we'll see a lot more announced.
Yeah.
soon. But there's a lot of stuff that either doesn't have a date or we don't know about.
Right.
I guess one big one is GTA. Knowing how Rockstar
Yeah.
does things, that's coming out next year because they
Yeah.
don't announce and then wait a year. They
Right.
announce and it comes out so many months later. So
And it's going to be in Vice City, which I'm
very likely.
super,
Yep.
super stoked for because I loved Vice
Mhm.
City.
It's crazy how secretive they can keep that
It's
game.
funny because like all of the Game of the Year games
Yeah.
that were nominated, I've only played 2. I didn't. I'm not. My fiance's playing Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
And
Heard
she's
very
at the
good
point.
things.
She is at the point, and I'm super proud of her for getting to the hey. After this, there's no going back. Kind
Yep,
of like at
yep.
the end game.
Yeah.
So she's gonna finish a game, and I'm happy because I don't know how many times I got to bug her about finishing 16.
I'm sure I'm worse than
I'm not
her.
going to. Okay, I'm not gonna do this.
That
Uh-huh.
was it right there.
I
That's
was
like a shadow like nudge.
I
right
was
there.
I was super
I'm not
tempted.
gonna do
Okay,
it.
I'm
so
proud of her.
Ben Starr, the voice of Clive, is
Yeah.
on Cameo, and I was almost going to pay him
Uh-huh.
to be like, tell my fiance to beat your game, please. And but apparently he's done that with other people.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
because on Cameo you can kind of see like previews of other ones he's done, and he's done that
Told
before,
people
so
to-
now
She
he's like,
clarifies there actually is 2 storylines, so she's only done with one of them. But
Oh.
still,
Yeah.
that's good progress.
well, whatever. But yeah, I mean, Alan Wake 2 looks really dope, but it's not my kind of game.
Mhm.
Baldur's Gate 3 is nominated and will more than likely win, which I'm totally
Yeah.
fine with.
It was a very good game.
I am at.
I'm glad that
I'm almost.
studio's getting
wor-
recognized.
Yeah, Larian's dope.
Yeah.
I am. Tyler and I are almost done with that game. Did not play Spider-Man 2. I know it's okay. I know it's good. I just don't care about Spider-Man. So
I do want to play it at some point because I have played a chunk of the first one,
I played
and I've seen a chunk of Miles. I haven't started it yet because I want to play through the first one, but I think I'd like it. It's just I have so many other things
Yeah.
right now. Like I need to finish those first before I can even consider getting up to 2. so-
Spider-Man solid. It's
Yeah.
one of the other ones I've literally done all the side quests and done almost all the story, so I just need to finish it. So
the what Basil says, you really like Control, right? Shit,
Yeah.
that's asking Shane, okay, that he really liked Control
Yeah.
is like asking me if I really like South Park.
Yeah. No, Control is one of my like favorite new IPs of the last decade.
the funny thing is that he actually didn't want the crossover with Control.
That's the
for Alan
thing.
Wake 2.
For me,
but-
I get what they're trying to do. There's part of me that really wants Control to be its own thing with what they did with that. I don't need all of that to be interconnected. I mean, this is just me.
Yeah.
I will say the way they're connecting it from what I've seen is interesting. But
Mhm.
yeah, I kind of really would have been totally cooler with maybe Control just being its own thing. But
Yeah, they're basically turning all of their games into an expanded
yes,
universe.
they're
at this
trying
point.
to do that, which like I don't know.
Was it confirmed or just a rumor they're working on another Max Payne?
That I don't know.
I think it's at least semi.
Well, they're working. They've confirmed that they're doing a remake of 1 and 2.
Okay,
Or
maybe that's what I'm thinking.
remaster, one of those two.
But I'm wondering if they're going to tie that into. And yeah, we'll see.
I hate that we use remake and remastered like
Right.
Semi interchangeably.
right.
I think there is a difference, but yeah, it can be subtle.
I mean, from my opinion, a
Mhm.
remaster means that nothing with the gameplay
Mhm.
or content or anything like that is
maybe
changing.
polished up the
It's
textures.
polished.
Yeah,
You're like touching up the original
fixed a few
content,
bugs.
maybe updating a little bit of it, but
Yeah.
you're generally like presenting the game in its original form. And a
Mhm.
remake is like a reimagining with, trying to hit on the key elements of what made that game, but maybe overhaul systems for gameplay and a whole fresh
Gutting
content.
graphics.
Maybe not kill Aerith.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final
not-
Fantasy 8 versus 7 is a good
I mean,
like,
we agree.
variation between.
that moment's changing in some way.
Spoilers.
I think
Well, it's
like
not spoilers, it's speculations.
Yeah.
speculation.
Well, that she died, but yeah,
It has been 15 years since 7.
It's been 84 years.
So if you don't know that Aerith died, congratulations. Now you do. Welcome to 2023.
I just worry that it'll piss off people that something changed, but we'll see. I mean, they're already changing so much; it shouldn't matter. People are just weird with certain franchises. Yeah, I'm looking through a list of things coming out. The vast majority don't have dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hades 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these I kind of don't care. There's a lot that I'm curious about though. Like there's what is that Wulong game could be interesting, or there's the
Well, no, Wulong's already out.
oh, is it out? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one that I played and I was not good at.
Right.
What's that?
You're thinking of...
I'm thinking of the monkey one. The other Chinese studio.
Yeah.
One. There's a couple like Chinese and Korean studios that are making like very pretty games, which
there
could
was
be
that
good.
one during the PlayStation showcase.
Yeah.
It was like
I
really
guess
dark looking.
Yeah.
It wasn't the monkey one, but it was like another ninja type game. That looked
Oh
pretty dope.
yes, yeah. I guess
Another
one of the
number 5
things that I would throw out there is just quote unquote Nintendo. Because I think this year is going to be interesting. One, we don't know exactly like what major Switch titles are on the way, and two, we're going to get the new console reveal this coming year.
Very likely.
Guarantee we're going to get at least the reveal, if not the release. So, seeing what they have been cooking up for that, I'm pretty excited.
Do you think Skull and Bones is actually coming out?
I think so. I mean, I want to try it. I've heard pretty good things from various people.
The Fuzzy guy.
Yeah, Fuzzy Bond.
He played it. He also played the other on Friday. Anyways, whatever earlier date.
What day it is?
Or was it Wednesday? Anyways, doesn't matter. He played that other pirate game that's like Blazing Sails or something.
Oh yes,
and that one actually looks
decent.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice is it's been free on the Epic Store like all the time, so like I got it.
Cool. I probably have it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the negativity I've gotten around Skull and Bones is more that people want something more like what Sea of Thieves is, where you're controlling a pirate, and they're really going for emphasizing more customizing and decking out your ship and ship combat and missions. Yeah. And like I'm cool with that because it looks like they have a pretty, and from what I've heard from people that played the beta, they have a lot of different ways that you could take it, different career paths, different like customization that you can do. Yeah. So
the problem is I think it'll be a decent game, but I think it'll be kind of a niche game, and I think that's what they're worried about.
But hey, if I'm cool with it, I'm happy to try it. I want to at least give it a fair shake.
I think they're just worried that it won't do up to their expectations. But they're also getting money from Singapore or whatever?
Yeah. No, the state of
I thought it was Singapore. There's
no,
some country.
there's a state in the U.S. that they've received funding from that they have to release it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think they're on the hook to pay that
Your
back.
taxpayer dollars.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Well, and there was
That's what's happened with Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah, Amalur. Yeah, the state of Rhode Island or whatever. Like poured money into that, and that was a mess.
Yeah, I really liked it.
It was a good game,
no, it's a great game. Like, but it was just crazy the way that
did
all
not
went
play
down.
it well.
And they were gonna make an MMO.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they were gonna make a second game, and I wanted all that.
Yeah.
Here's one for you, South Park.
Oh yeah,
the new trailer.
Day.
Yep.
The Snow Day, because that new trailer came out.
Star Wars Outlaws looks pretty good.
Yes, I'm curious to see more on that.
I think that was told it. I think that was not officially said it was postponed, but it was
delayed slightly.
It was a major title has been postponed.
Yeah, that's right. That did.
Right.
And everyone assumes it's that from Ubisoft.
That's fine with me as long as it comes out decent. I forgot they're doing a Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster.
Yes.
That's going to be
Yep.
good. I actually need to play those games. I really wanted to for a while. What else we got? Yeah, it's interesting. There's just not as much as I thought. I think there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of things we don't know about or just don't have dates.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful at the Game Awards that we'll...
I'm sure we'll get some announcements there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, that's the end of the list. Yeah, I think it'll be a good year. I think this year a lot of big stuff came out.
Yeah.
So this next year might be a little slow, but it happens. There's usually waves like that.
Yep.
And there's still a few things that were supposed to come out this year that got delayed. So, yeah, I think it'll be good. And there's always indie games. Hey, there's
Yeah.
a lot of great indie games coming out.
Which, have you heard of the indie game? And oh god, that's another thing we could talk about.
Uh-oh.
What constitutes indie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some controversy over the indie category for Game Awards. And I kind of agree with the dissenting because Dave the Diver is supposed to be a very good game.
It is a really good game.
Extremely highly rated on
Yep.
Steam. They deserve some credit
Yeah.
for what they've done. But they're essentially an offshoot from a multi-million or billion-dollar like studio. So like they're not really indie. They just look like they are.
Yeah.
But it got put into that category, so a lot of people are a little upset. Like it's going to win that category. There's no competition. So it's like, are you really helping anybody in that category?
Right.
So, but then I don't know what else it would be in. Like I don't know, best sim
I don't
or
know. It's to me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the same. But when we're talking about being in that category, it's
Yeah.
like Baldur's Gate being an RPG.
Yeah.
It's like
that's an independent
What's-
studio that
what-
independently published.
right. I mean, that's the
so
other thing is like that's
Are they
that-
indie?
I mean, because a lot of people have said it's like, well, Larian's indie because
Yeah.
they're self-published and all that. And they're-
Right.
I guess I don't know how big the team is, but I know it's not like
It's not huge, but it's decently sized. It's like
bigger
50 to
than
100.
the four of us.
Yeah.
but
Right.
And they
no,
did
to me, it's like anything that's an RPG is not going to win against Baldur's Gate.
that
Yeah.
usually happens. There's usually a couple categories
Yeah.
like that. But yeah. There was another controversy over like Destiny got like best community support.
But they let
And-
go half their.
They got let go of half their people. The last update was very poorly received. There's just been all this controversy coming out of there, and it feels like, yeah, they shouldn't have just been in the category at all.
Yeah.
So, I don't think they'll win, but even if they won, like, who are they going to give it to? They fired most of the
Right.
staff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I think overall, like, he's doing the best he can with some of those, and some of those are all the categories are determined by a group of like 100 judges.
Right.
So
Right.
like Jeff himself doesn't have any say
Right.
in that. Even though I think they could better define like the categories.
They could.
and
I
have
think
some.
I think they could work to. I know they have some general guidelines,
Yes.
but yeah, they could maybe refine
They're
it a little
more
bit
like
more.
guidelines, anyways.
I know one other thing some people complained about is the like ongoing support, and how like some of that, even he's kind of vague about the category. Like support could be like them supporting the community or them like outputting DLC or whatever that means, but it usually ends up being like the same like 3 or so games in that category.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy, I think has won like the past so
and
many years.
I'm still surprised that Sea of Thieves have it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
well, yeah.
I
But
mean, it's a good
I'm
game,
still
but,
surprised like Sea of Thieves hasn't gotten at least like more of a nod there because
like that should be for community support. and it's
right,
not,
like
but-
they've done a lot for the community with that game,
Yeah.
and they've put a lot more into it in recent years than they did initially. So I don't know. Like at some point, I feel like they kind of need a moment in that somewhere in that space.
Yeah.
But yeah, some recognition.
I know we've had discussions over like what is action adventure versus there's another
just action.
just action. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's kind of vague terms. Or like everything has RPG mechanics. So like what is an RPG at that point?
Right.
But yeah, they've talked off like I've seen he has some Q&As and he's talked about like, well, should we change the categories or keep them the same? And they just decided to keep them the same for now.
Yeah.
Even like how many people in each category. I forgot they raised it from 5 to 6 at one point.
Yeah.
They're like, should we go to 7? But then it starts like diluting the waters. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tricky thing doing awards. They end up being a popularity contest to some degree,
Yeah.
anyways. But it's fun to watch. Plus, they at least have a lot of trailers. So.
Right. Well, I mean, the Game Awards is not even.
Right, it's
It's
half
mostly
half a
that.
marketing
By the time
event,
it starts,
so-
it's like, well, we've already given away half of these
Yeah,
awards
yeah.
already. It's like, but it just started.
yeah.
I think it's funny. They have like 5 or 6 categories for esports, and almost all of those are given away, outside of the show. So it's
Yeah.
like, why even bother? But whatever. But yeah,
Anywho,
should be fun.
I think that gets us a good. I think this is a good kind of stopping point for us.
Sure.
So, thank you all for joining us on our 38th episode of Konsui Fighter Live. Again, if you're watching on Steam, welcome. We're glad that you were able to join our first stream on Steam itself. If you're on Kick, this is our second, so good to have you join us here. Twitch, you've been with us for a while, and same thing with YouTube. But hey, you know what? Thanks for continuing to come back and dealing with us.
I'm glad that Twitch didn't go through with their thing to ban us for streaming on multiple things. So,
Yeah.
Glad that they got rid of that. But
yeah, for now.
Like we've posted it before, but you can follow us on our social channels. So if you hit bang or exclamation point social, you can get to our link tree. We have all of our social channels there. If you are on Steam, you can start wish listing our game now. We would really, really love that support. If you are wanting to play the game now on the go, we do have it in early access on the Google Play Store, so you can do bang Google Play, and that will
give you a link.
Give you the link to our Google Play Store.
And I will say, like if you do wish list on Steam, it'll tell you as soon as we do like a demo, early access, things like that, or when we release. So,
but yeah, I mean, other than that, thank you all for joining us this year, and we will look forward to many more streams next year and next fest and all that. But
hopefully a good year.
Yeah. And other than that, that's pretty much all I have. Does anybody else want to add anything before we skedoodle?
No.
I do want to thank you all for this quick time change.
Yeah.
Since we were originally going to start at 2 today, but our area is supposed to be getting ice and snow. And we're not home.
Anything from a dusting to 3 inches.
Right.
Like,
and we're not obviously home, so I was like, I don't really want to deal with that, trying to get to the office and all that. But
I'm at least not far, but you guys have a little further to go and highway. So, yep. Okay.
But that, thank you all, everyone, for joining. And until then, we will talk to you all next year. And again, follow us on Instagram, on Twitter /X. You know what? I am going to just continue.
Just keep
Twitter.
calling Twitter.
Everybody
silent protest. Yep.
And Facebook, and again,
all the places we can.
Yep. And we'll continue to update you guys. But until then, we will see you all next time. Thanks.
Bye.